So who is what? So he's comparing Arjuna and Duryodhana. So it's about fight. This and next. So Krishna यही भजे तेही है था चतुर, माया यही भजे सही है था फतुर. So these are some words which Prabhupada uses, plan, kori and all that. So one who worships Krishna is very clever, and one who is worshipping Maya is very Fatur means which is not clever, I think. Fatur, I don't know. Anyone Bengali here? Fatur exactly what it means? Anyone knows? Fatur means, or Google it if someone has. But it is, you understand, it's opposite of Chatur. That much we can understand. Is fool. Fool versus wise. Right? But still, if you can get. Fatur. So what Fatur does? Fatur hai bara lagi anitya vilas. संबंध ज्ञान हीनेरा हाय कर्म बंध फास. So see this picture is there. The full absorption in material progress, and after absorption what happens? He dies. That's what. Why? कर्म बंध फास में वो मर जाता है. Why? What is the reason? What is the reason which Prabhupada is giving? He is delighting in what? Something which is anitya. Anitya vilas. And why he is doing that? Next line. What is that? Sambandha jnana hina. Because he is devoid of sambandha jnana. That's why he is doing anitya vilas. Instead of doing satya vilas or vilas vardhan who is here. Right? So that is the goal. Right? So he is doing anitya vilas. What we see in Tulsi Arti, what do you see? Vilas kunje diyo. He is not doing that because sambandha gyan heen, that's why he is Fatur. So what is Fatur? Anyone could see? Fatur ka kya meaning is?
Not an important person. Something that is weak.
Okay, small and unimportant person or something which is weak.
Weak, insignificant, or easily defeated.
Okay, weak, insignificant and easily defeated. That is Fatur. Very good. So insignificant is correct, but others are problem. Others easily defeated.
Bankrupt.
Bankrupt. So here the point is he doesn't know Sambandha Gyan properly. That's why he is dying. Arjun Karai Yuddha Ara Duryodhana Kare. Both are doing Yuddha. But Arjun Bhakta Shrestha, Duryodhana Mare. Isn't it so nice? They are on the same battlefield, in front of each other. Both have sufficient skill, army, followers. Both are doing Yuddha. But one is Bhakta, one is living, one is dying. एक युद्ध क्षेत्रे दुई प्रिया प्रिय है, बुद्धिमाना लोके ये बुझिते पराय. So I don't know, any one of you has meaning? Can you open the meaning of this? Meaning of this song? Song meaning. Vrindavane bhajan. I don't have the meaning, but it can be understood, at least essence of it. एक युद्ध क्षेत्रे दुई प्रिया प्रिय है. And one Yuddha Kshetra only they are against each other. Na? Priya apriya hai. Buddhimana loka ye bujete paray. Only the intelligent can understand this. Why it is happening like this. One is dying and one is because of devotion. So that is the ninth one. Why? Who is wise and who is poor? Got the meaning? Anyone? Meaning? Rare. Actually, I don't know why these songs are not there in songbook. These founder Acharya's songs and all other songs are not there of all other Acharyas, but these songs are not there. So we are fortunate to have Parampuja Bhakti Prem Maharaj coming and explaining those songs. Every time he comes, Vaishishtastak, Virahastak, Vrindavane Bhajan, this is all Prabhupada wrote and those songs are not there in our. And the next song is very inspiring, which we want to sing. So what is the title? understand and fight. The previous was what? Wise and poor. Both are fighting, one dies and one emerges victorious. Because Chatur and Chatur. So one is devotee. So what is to be understood and how we have to fight? So that is because as everyone, know what is all the acharyas, even the other sampradaya acharyas also say that रात्रंदिवस आम्हा युद्धाचा प्रसंग आंतरबाह्य जग आणि मन मीन्स व्हॉट कॉन्स्टंटली आय एम इन बॅटलफील्ड inside mind, outside the world. So this is who is saying this. Tukaram Maharaj is saying. And there is one lecture of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj also. There is one lecture called Spiritual Life is Warfare. So he is explaining Samudra Manthan Leela very profoundly. If you have not heard, please hear. It's very amazing lecture. Warfare. Or we have heard from Bhakti Tirth Maharaj said there are two dogs.
White dog, black.
Good dog, bad dog, white, black. Or Duryodhan and Dhritarashtra party, whatever. This is fight, and the fight actually should be in within. Within fight causes fights without. So we have to understand and fight. So what is that is very nicely told in this song. Actually इसका ट्यून मेरे को पता नहीं किसको पता है क्या ट्यून इसका जानिए संबंध जानिए बाजीवाना युद्ध करे संबंध जानिए बाजीवाना युद्ध करे वंचिया ठाके आर सब मारे or any other, I think this is not fitting. ठीक है, I will explain the meaning. Sambandha na jani. So first one is clear, right? Know the sambandha. Sambandha janiya eva jivan yuddha kare. Know the sambandha and do fight in your life. Seita vanchiya thake ara saba mare. So they only will survive. Everyone else will die. संबंध ना जानी एबा आना फाथे धाय. Means one who doesn't know sambandha, he will run on so many other paths. Anapathi means many other paths. Other than your devotional service, you can say. So many other paths. Krishna priti nahi mile, vrtha janma ja. So they don't attain anything. Krishna priti nahi mile, that is the goal only. That only nahi mile, and their life also goes in vain. So that is Anapathi means so many other paths they are running. Krishna says Sambandha Adi Bhalo Kare Bhuja. It's what? First, know your Sambandha with Krishna very nicely. Bhalo Kare Bhuja. Bhalo means very nicely. Bhuja means you try to know your relationship with Krishna nicely. Say Sambandha Rakhi. Yuja means what? Then fight. Understand and fight is coming from this. Sambandha with Krishna and fight with Maya. Not fight with devotees or not fight with anyone else. Maya se fight karo. Te sambandha rakhi. For what purpose? To protect that sambandha with Krishna, you fight with Maya. Very, very choicest words are used. And of course, here Haridas Thakur and prostitute is shown. Tana chadi hai yeba jnana karma veera. So those who left that sambandha gyan, without understanding relationship with Krishna, high eva jnana karma veer. They are big, big jnanis and karmis, very big skilled. What happened? Moksha nahi para tara hayata asthir. They didn't attain even moksha. And they remained unsteady. Hayata asthir. Or in other words, there is one verse now, what is that? Bhakti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakala Ashant. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atayava Shant. Right? Something like that. So many people, Gyan Karma Veer. So that is what is this wonderful song is showing. And there are so many examples of that. And then he gives this all example. Further, like this, who is that? Who is this person? Shaubari Muni, Vishwamitra Muni. Like that. Like that it goes. Very, very small, very deep things are there. But why I chose this song? Because it is about what? Knowing Sambandha, you fight. So that's why it's very important. So we'll begin with Mangalacharya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. प्रव्रजन्तमनपेत अपेत कृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवो विनेदुस् तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि यस्यानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् आध्यात्मदीप अतिथिर्षट्टान्तमोढम् संसारिणा करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यम् तं व्याससूनुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणि वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम ओम प्रभुवाचारं पंगुं कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं तस्मादहं विगतविक्लवैश्वरस्य सर्वात्मनां गृह्णामि यथा मनीषा नीचो जयो गुणविसर्ग अनुप्रविष्ट तो हि पुमानन्वनितेन Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your response. So I was told to discuss some kind of one word which was used, which is not supposed to be used. That was what word?
Overview.
Overview. So overview of, we cannot take overview of something which we cannot see fully or experience fully. That's what Prabhupada Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj said. And then he removed that word and said underview.
Yeah.
Because Bhagavatam is Krishna. How can you have overview of Krishna? When Krishna fails to understand himself. There is one verse because simultaneously so many things are happening. So how can we have overview of Krishna? So what we can do is underview. Wherever we are insignificant, we'll try to look up and see whatever we can see through the eyes of those who are able to see. The great souls. So, uh, so first two cantos you have successfully completed, and I congratulate all of you that you have come till here. And my all well wishes that you continue till sixth canto and then also continue, because this is the beginning of approach of Krishna, where systematically one approaches Bhagavatam through the desires of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wanted this kind of education. Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti Sarvabhauma. This is Prabhupada's desire. Prabhupada writes that this should be done by everyone, every devotee, not just a leader or not just teacher or like that. Every devotee, Prabhupada says. So it's very important to go through these courses. So there are challenges in doing that. Like now you are at challenge. Some teachers will come like me, where you will have challenge to tolerate. But the glory is the book is very nice. Whosoever is there, you can try to connect with the book. So it's very helpful, and especially for brahmachari, it's all the more important. As Parampuja Mahavishnu Maharaj told in 1994, he had come to Chowpati and he was giving class. And that year was the year when he spoke in Bhagavatam class to one brahmachari, some class, I don't know which class. You should get married. He was asking some challenge, some question about his challenge. Maharaj said, you should get married. Again he said, you should get married. I was wondering, "Arey, kya bol rahe hai?" Some Maharaj is telling you, it's not easy to accept that. Any friend tells it's okay. Some Maharaj is telling you get married. Even authority tells you get married, it's difficult to digest. But if someone like, there are some devotees like Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu. He was told by GVC and he did follow the order. But he didn't follow in the sense of he never entered Grihastha Ashram actually. Right? He just continued his outreach. And whereas Guru Prasad, Paramapuja Guru Prasad Maharaj was also told by GVC to get married. But he left that temple and went somewhere else. So, sir. And then he came back after 1 year. And then GVC told, actually, I was testing you. So there are both examples. They had sincerity of purpose to serve Krishna and Prabhupada's mission, and they are doing. So we have to get married. So the only option is Bhagavatam. That's what was told by Maharaj there, that you should get married. Third time he said to Bhagavatam. Get married with Bhagavatam. Then you do. So that is the time Gaurang Prabhu said in Eyelids that I took the study of Bhagavatam very seriously. 1994 to 2000, 6 years, practically every day, lot of time he would spend with Bhagavatam. And Radheshyam tells that. Some of you have heard that. Nobody knew where is he sitting, and so he had that kind of background. And then 2001, he was invited to serve as administration by Sadhananda. So the point I am telling is that this is a very important thing for everyone, especially brahmacharis, because it's very important to enter into scriptures. Like yesterday, Radheshampu was also sharing. Right? Spiritual strength is there in sound vibration, transcendental sound vibration. Two, that is Harinam and Harikatha. So this is Harikatha. and holy name we take every. So it's very important to marry. So to marry, we have to spend time before and after, of course, no doubt. Yeah. So that's why these courses are like that. That forcefully you spend time. You understand? Forcefully, no, officially, managerially, array a class. Spend time, discuss. So that's why we are. So two cantos you have completed. So congratulations. So please continue doing this study. And it's good to hear from people who have studied, because that's what my experience when I did in Vidyapit. I try to hear from Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, Damodar Prabhu, Radhika Vallabh Prabhu, Balram Shakti Prabhu, Madhav Gopal Prabhu. These all were teachers. They were thoroughly studied Bhagavatam and they were teaching. And there is lot to learn. Even Radhesham Prabhu was so much in the mood of student there. He would inquire. So it was very inspiring. Otherwise, I was reading first canto only. After joining ashram 4 years, I was reading it first canto. Didn't go ahead. But there, seeing them, hearing from them about Bhagavatam. So it's very so these courses help us to do that in spite of uh, some inconveniences which we have to take. But it's good inconvenience. What is that they write when there is road construction? Temporary inconvenience for permanent convenience. So you can see like that when some teachers like me are there. Temporary inconvenience might be there, but for permanent convenience. So now having said that, so this song is speaking about what? Fight. So actually, as a brahmacharis, we have to fight within. As our Avanti Brahman 11 canto, if you see, his first shloka, what he says, first shloka of his realization. Anyone knows that shloka or the meaning of it? See, the first shloka is very nice and last shloka is very special. What is the first shloka? Anyone has any idea, meaning or paraphrase?
What is the reason for my suffering?
Correct. What is the reason for my suffering? So what is that
It
conclusion?
is not my family members, not the
Yes.
devatas. It is my mind.
Yes. Naham jano में सुख दुख हेतु न देवतात्मा न ग्रह कर्म कालः मनः परम कारणमामनन्ति संसार चक्रे परिवर्तयेत. So that is his conclusion after so much of background. So that is the first verse of his realization. And what is the last verse? एतां स आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठाम् आध्यासितं पूर्वतमय महद्भिः अहं तरिष्यामि दुरन्तपारं तमो मुकुन्दांग्रि निषेवय. So this shloka is recited when and by whom?
Sannyas.
By sannyasi. When? While taking this sannyas mantra. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted this mantra after taking sannyas. So Avanti Brahman Mahaprabhu is choosing to teach. What is the spirit of sannyasi? That is the last verse. So when I was reflecting, I felt the first verse is the spirit of a brahmachari. And if he progresses, then he can go to that spirit. So spirit of brahmachari should be what? That all the problems in this world are not outside. Where it is more or less because of my own mind. Not because of authority, not because of temple, not because of service, not because of location, not because of so many other things which you can add. But problem is there in mind. And we have a lot of time to deal with the mind. Either deal with or get follow or train the mind. Depends. So, but the opulence is there of time. And we have to deal with it. Rajambu gives one full talk on brahmachari and mind. Because it's a big thing. No one else is going to deal with it. Other than who? Others will deal when it creates some issues. And that's how they are expert at dealing. But we have to deal with it. No one else is going to deal. And Bhagavatam can help us in the best way. That's what I can understand. Because it is scriptural sound vibration, pure sound vibration. So Bhagavatam is like I think Ramanand Prabhu shared this that time when I came after little some months of course. I just came and was sharing Prabhu. It was so wonderful. I am trying to understand what are the problems I am having. So he said, yes, very correct. When you study scripture, it's like what? He was saying that it's like a mirror. Mirror means what? It shows what is there. It can show good things, it can show bad things. Mirror can show everything, now who we are. So without anyone has to tell, you will understand what is nice and what is not nice. What is appropriate, what is inappropriate through the scripture. And it is not just, so scripture is like mirror, but this is not normal scripture, this is Krishna only. So if we approach properly, it will show more. It is not like ordinary mirror. Like you have heard that sloka, no? What is that sloka? Shunvatam Sakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Raddantasto hi Abhadrani, Vidhunvati Surutsata. So who is cleaning? Krishna is cleaning. Our job is to hear properly. Krishna will clean. But when we allow him to enter, so he will only show us and he will only clean. He will show that this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. Right? So Bhagavatam is like that. So that's why we have to approach it with great reverence and trying to develop more and more interest as we are progressing. Because this is what is the substance of everything else, all other literatures. What is Chaitanya Charitamrita? Mahaprabhu is relishing Bhagavatam only, right? Of course, many other things also. But what are Sandarbhas? They are all Bhagavatam only. So all the conclusions of all Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and perfection are there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the very, very, very important thing. And in that now we are studying, we already studied two cantos. And now we are going to begin third canto. So now first two cantos, what they represent, what is the content and what is the purpose of the content, that we will try to see today to some extent. And go tomorrow onwards for beginning with the third canto, right? So that's the plan and whatever time we have. So first two cantos, according to our acharyas, so there are 10 topics in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Atra sarga visargasya sthanam poshanam utayah manvantareshanukatha nirodho muktirashraya. So these are the names of 10 topics and you discuss them. I think Shriman Madhav Gopal Pu must have discussed these topics, right? And what it means, each of them. So these topics predominantly are described in a particular canto, although they are there in all the cantos. All topics are there in all cantos. But Acharya like Siddhar Swami or Vishwanath Chakravarti or even Jiv Goswami and even Srila Prabhupada, they say that there is predominance in a particular canto of particular topic. So that predominance starts canto number 3. So Sarga is predominantly in third canto. Visarga is in fourth canto. And so on. Like that it goes on. Till ninth canto. Ninth canto is Ishanupada. And 10th canto is Ashray. And 11th is, what is 11? Mukti or Nirodh? 11th canto is Mukti. And 4 kinds of annihilation are told in 12th canto. That is Nirodh. So that's how the predominance of the subject matter is according to cantos. Although all topics are there in all cantos. But where this is coming, this verse is coming where? Which location in Bhagavatam it is coming?
Last chapter, first verse.
Yes, 2.10.1. So who is speaking that? Who is speaking? Yes, Prabhu.
सुखदेव
Mohammed?
गोस्वामी
Who is, आवाज एक सेकंड.
सुखदेव गोस्वामी
हाँ, yes, Prabhu. Vilas Swadan who is nicely correctly saying. Yes, who is saying? Shukadeva Goswami, right? Yeah.
Yes,
So, and so that is 10th chapter. So 9th chapter is Chatushloki Bhagavati. Brahma Narada Samvad. Not Brahma Narada. Lord and Brahma Samvad. And before that, there are many, many questions. 8th chapter is full of questions. So while answering, he answers the first question in 9th chapter. And second question, he starts answering in 9th chapter. And then he answers Chatushloki, and then he tells this verse that, my dear Parikshit, I am going to tell you answers to all your questions, but not in a sequence which you have asked, but in a sequence which I want to speak. Okay. So this is methodology of which personality? Who is saying this? Shukdev Goswami, while answering Parikshit. He is saying, this is the way I am going to speak now. Atra Sarga Visarga Sthanam Poshanam Uti. So that's how third canto is beginning with the first topic. Right? So that's the way the author has spoken.
It is kind of like that.
Yes.
Fourth is Sarga.
Third is Sarga. Fourth is Visarga. Fifth is what? Sthanam. So you have the cosmology as well as
Sixth is Poshanam.
Poshanam, where you see the Ajamil and all the first. Seventh is Uti, inclinations. So by serving pure devotee, you can get rid of all the inclinations or whatever. Vasanas. Utaya karma vasana. Then Manvantara is it. Ninth is Ishanu Katha. So many stories of Lord and his devotees. 10th is Ashraya Tattva. 11th is Mukti, because Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. Different methods to attain liberation. So many. Apart from Bhakti, he spoke many other things. Like Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Deity. So many things he speaks. Elaborate. More elaborate than Bhagavad Gita. And 12th canto is Annihilation. Nirodha. So that way it is systematic. Because the author is saying, it's like initially beginning of lecture is telling, this is how I am going to speak. So it is his methodology which we have to follow to understand what he wants to speak. Otherwise, we can follow our methodology and understand whatever we want to understand.
All the 9 things are only for considering mastery.
Yeah, we are coming to that. I have not yet come. First verse only. Next verse is that what you said. So what I was saying is that yes, this methodology of 10 topics is whose? Shukdev Goswami. See the location of it. See the context in which it is spoken. That I am going to speak Bhagavatam. Not in a way, I will answer all your questions, not in a sequence which you have asked, but the way of this method. So that's why we also have to approach. So what are the first 2 cantos then? The subject matter starting before. The first 2 cantos are prelude to that. Srimad Bhagavatam. First 2 cantos. So prelude is very important thing. Many times, how many of us have read Bhagavad Gita? There is introduction, preface, all these things. They are very important things actually. Because author puts there the purpose of the book, how we should approach, what is the content. Short, you have seen introduction of Gita. Such a profound introduction. Same is the case with Bhagavatam. Prabhupada speaks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, and before that he speaks same methodology. Very strongly that one should go page by page, chapter by chapter to approach this Bhagavad. So Prabhupada also speaks there very clearly. So it has to be not, section wise, this section, that section, that is okay. But the whole author is telling, and author and commentator, who is our dear Srila Prabhupada, what they are telling you, go in the sequence. Don't be selective. Don't be selective. Go page by page, chapter by chapter. This is the way a book should be studied. So, first two cantos are very important. So before going there, the next verse, as Krishna Kirtan Prabhu said, so what is the meaning of the next verse? 2.10.2. What is that verse? So someone may ask, is it that Bhagavatam has 10 topics? You are saying, 10 names you are saying. Is it the book has 10 different topics? Sukhdev says, no, 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 no. Actually, there is only one topic. But all other 9 are for the purpose of indicating the 10 topic, isolating the 10 topic, pointing the 10 topic. That is the only topic. Dashamasya Vishuddhartham Navanam Iha Lakshanam. So, Navanam Iha Lakshanam means the purpose of other 9 topics is to Dashamasya Vishuddhartham. Vishuddhartham means to isolate, to point one topic on. What is that? Dasham. That is 10th topic, that is Krishna. So all other topics are for the purpose of pointing to the one topic only. That way, actually only one topic on. Only one topic is Ashraya. But Ashraya Tattva cannot be perceived, cannot be seen, cannot be experienced right away. Because it's like a root of the tree. But we can see the twigs, we can see the everything else we can see. Leaves, flowers, fruits, twigs, and the trunk, and everything else we can see. But can we see from where all these things are coming from? And where all these things are getting nourishment from? Are we able to see that? No. So what is told? Shakha Chandrana, Shakha Chandra means we are not able to see the moon. So what is shown? Child is shown. Can you see the tree? Yeah, I am seeing. Can you see the other thing? Yes, I see. Can you see in between there is moon? It is not visible. So the experts, what they do, that is the next line. Although there is one topic and all other 9 topics are pointing to one topic. What is that? Krishna, Ashraya Tattva. So all Mahapuranas have 10 topics. All of them have these topics, but they never indicate Krishna or Ashraya. They indicate some other purpose according to the mode in which they are. Their purpose is to raise person in particular mode. So they are Param Ashraya, the Ashraya of Ashraya, everything. So only Bhagavatam does that. No other Purana. Although it is Mahapurana, there are 18 but they are not pointing to Krishna. They are the Ashraya, which is not. So that is the first line. Dashamasya Vishuddhartham Navanam Iha Laksha. Then the great souls, what they do? Varnayanti Mahatmanaha. So the great souls like Shukdev, Maitreya, and the Parampara, they Varnayanti, they describe Shrimad Bhagavatam with this in background. But by 2 ways. Shrutena, Arthena, Chanjas. So they will directly speak some evidence, direct evidence of the Ashraya Tattva. Like Prahlad Maharaj is there in front of Narsinghdev. So Ashraya Tattva is there right in front of him and he is offering prayers. This is direct evidence. That's why the prayers of Bhagavatam are the most important part of Bhagavatam. Because it's direct evidence. And there is by stories. Arthena means the conclusion of story is Ashraya. So there are so many stories in Bhagavatam. So the great souls explain Bhagavatam like this. The way Shukdev has spoken, and Shukdev only is telling this is the way Mahatmas will explain that. They will point the 10th topic. So that's how the first two cantos become very, very essential unless we grasp what is the content and what is the purpose of it. Because it's a prelude, it is telling. So the first two cantos are telling certain tattva. So I think I had mentioned that in your talk earlier also. So some of you might remember. So what is the first canto teaching us? Any remembrances or what it is teaching? What is the purpose of first canto? Anyone wants to say? I think I have one, I think, which section I took for you. By that time, I tried to share that from Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj. And of course, that is from first two cantos. What is so the first canto is telling about Adhikar Tattva. Who is Adhikari for approaching Shiva? So Adhikar means qualification. Qualification, not two qualifications. Qualification of the receiver and qualification of and object, that literature. So which are the three? They are in the sequence actually. If you see the how it starts, first three chapters. It is discussion between whom, which people. Yes, yes, correct. Go ahead. Correct. Shaunakadi Rishis and Sut Goswami. So this is the in the three nested conversation. This is the his aspiration are lower. So initially they were what is that? Sargaya Lokaya, like that. So they were aspiring for Swarga actually. But because of association of Romaharshi and Sut, they heard about Puranas and they developed some inclination for spirituality. So they gradually left their aspiration of Swarga and they became interested in spiritual life. And more they heard, they got inclined to bhakti. They heard from Sut Goswami also earlier. So Sud Goswami also would come in their assembly. And even Ram Harshana was speaking only anyway, right? He was speaking and he was continuing to speak, but then Balramji came and killed him because he didn't show proper achar. But then Balramji told, okay, should I bring him back? No, no, not required. So his son will continue. So Sud Goswami also spoke to that assembly. So they practically were raised actually in that assembly. And then this, what you are seeing in the first chapter of first canto is happening after Bhagavatam was spoken to Parikshit. So that is another same audience is the same only, but now he is going to speak Bhagavatam. So they had lower aspirations, lower qualification, but the speaker was Sut Goswami, and Sut Goswami was also better now. Earlier Sut Goswami and this Sud Goswami in first canto, first chapter is different. What is difference? Earlier also Sud Goswami spoke. What is the difference between the two? I'll just show you one slide till that time. What is the difference between the two? Sud Goswami. Means same person only I'm saying, but what is the difference? Yes? He spoke about Bhakti. Why he spoke about Bhakti? Correct it is, but why? So this is what I'm saying. Progress and purification of hearer. So this is gradual. No signal. So, has he heard Bhagavatam before? No, no. Unless Parikshit is cursed, he has not heard Bhagavatam, right? So, and he was not empowered also. So when he heard Bhagavatam and he was when this mood, huh? ओके तो पूछो उनको क्या है कुछ समस्या हाँ लगा दो मैकेनिकल का वही कर सकते so he heard and 12 canto after 12 canto speaking what Shukdev Goswami said that this Sut Goswami is going to speak this to Shaunakadi Rishi. So not only he heard Bhagavatam but he was interested Bhagavatam. So this is different. Hearing Bhagavatam is one thing and interesting Bhagavatam is another thing. Actually, Vedvas was looking for a personality whom he can entrust Bhagavatam. He had many disciples, but they were not qualified. He didn't feel that they are not qualified that this literature which I have realized by mercy of Narada in my samadhi, I can give it to them. Because they cannot, I can't interest you understand? Interesting something is requires a lot of trust and relation. So he prayed for such person to come. He did austerities and then Sukdev Goswami was born and he ran also after that. So a lot of things happened. Point I am trying to make is Shukdev Goswami is later entrusting Bhagavatam to whom? Sut Goswami. So Sut Goswami, when he is coming in the first canto, first chapter, he is not just Sut Goswami, which was before. He had come to that assembly before also. He had spoken to them before also. But this is different. Now he is going to speak Bhagavad. Earlier, because he was Suta, he was expert in Puranas from his father. His father was expert in Purana speaking. Right? So that's how this is the conversation which is lower conversation. The audience is having different aspirations. And because of association of these three, they grew. So you are able to see now, okay, it's not visible on Hare Krishna. There it's there. In there.
जैसे कास्ट कर दी मेरे
Huh?
आपके लैपटॉप से
Okay, वो डुप्लीकेट अभी कुछ नो सिग्नल ही दिखा रहा है पीसी स्क्रीन ओनली भी दिखा है एक्चुअली क्या पता नहीं क्या हो गया anyway what is written here is by see Shaunakadi rishis are same for 1000 years they are doing sacrifice उनका मुंह काला हो गया है all that you hear first canto so they are progressing in their consciousness as they are hearing from Rom Harshan then Sud Goswami and Sud Goswami repeated Shukdev Goswami right after first 6 questions everything was spoken what he heard right so that's how this is what is so this is one level of conversation in first canto what is the next level that is there in the next 3 chapters who are these 3 so I am just reading the क्या हुआ पता नहीं चल रहा है so first 3 chapters so 6 questions सूत प्रवचनम भगवत कथायाः श्रवण कीर्तयो निःश्रेयसत् भगवत भक्तेः महात्म्य वर्णयम च this is second chapter which is very very powerful भगवत चतुर्विधानां संक्षिप्तो वर्णनम which is this chapter yes so that is third chapter so these are the 3 chapters and 6 questions are answered right? So next 3 chapters are the next level of conversation where what is who are these 2 people 4 5 6 what is the chapter
4 Narada
yes and 6 also it's all Narada Vyasa Samvada so this is little higher adhikar of the audience where Ved Vyas is being dissatisfied. But he is not dissatisfied for himself. He is dissatisfied seeing others. So this is a higher level of talk which is happening here because Shota is higher. But what he also went back and wrote Bhagavata, right? On the instruction of Narada. So this is second level of adhikar. And the third equally in bhakti in one sense. Of course, Shukdev is more elevated. But still it is glorified emperor and he left everything in a flash and came to here. It takes fit to do that. And it was not that he had some problems in, some relationship problems, some money problem, some power problem, no problem. No wife problem, nothing. But he was attached to Krishna already. He was Vishnu Rath, was protected by Lord. So he was highest. So these are the three levels of Shrotas here. And Vaktas also. Right? So Vaktas are all exalted one. Narada Muni and Shukdev was empowered by Vedvyas so that he became Shukdev actually by teaching Bhagavad. And Narada Muni is Bhakti Shakti incarnation only. But he was also told by Brahma. And Brahmaji was told by Lord himself. So that way it is coming. The third one is Sud Goswami who heard from Shukdev Goswami. So they are the Shrotas. So the Adhikar Tattva is told in first canto. And whichever Adhikar we are, what we have to do is, what we have to do? We have to hear. And we can raise to the highest position. That's what happened to Shaunakadi Rishis. They also developed great aspirations of bhakti. So actually it start हुआ ही नहीं ना वो आप अभी क्या करने का उनको क्या बोले हो कौन प्रभु जी आ रहे हैं कि कोई दूसरे he himself is coming slide see otherwise I can do like this or Prabhu what you do it's there ना you have joined the meeting right तो ऐसा कर दो ना दिखेगा सबको वो उधर आ जाओ नहीं तो इधर आ जाओ ये साइड में आगे तो भी चलेगा इधर दिखेगा
इनको भी ज्वाइन करना आप भी ज्वाइन इसमें ना
तो
इंटरनेट
दोनों देख लेंगे
इंटरनेट बताओ कि
so this yes bro you are able to see the slide
I will try to connect.
आश्रम वाला
हाँ you try your correct that is also good option another option so why what this slide is showing is their progress is being shown Shaunakadi Rishi's progress from the going to Swarga then getting inclined for bhakti and then becoming interested in only pure bhakti and nothing else
पर दूसरा एंड किधर है
lose connection again. Anyway, I don't know. In between, you had something raise hand. You wanted to say something.
हाँ
Please go ahead. Till that this thing happen.
दशम से है ना तो सीक्वेंस में दशम से लास्ट वन
Yes.
सो फिर लास्ट वन इज निरोध ना
No, the verse. अतर सर्ग विसर्ग से स्थानम पोषणम होता है मनवंतरे ईशानुगत निरोधो मुक्तिर आश्रय
आंसर वैसे कैसे हुआ लास्ट थ्री
करेक्ट लास्ट थ्री में सीक्वेंस अलग है
तो वो तो सुखदेव गोस्वामी वो क्यों हुआ वो बताया नहीं सुखदेव गोस्वामी बोले ये सीक्वेंस में so like
हाँ
12 cantos
the 10th canto sequence the Ashray has to be 10th
Nirodha became 12th
हाँ both became opposite
how and what is the reason
reason I have not heard any reason particular but it is told by the acharyas and the content of it Like Ashra Tattva, the biggest, the most biggest canto, 90 chapters are there only in 10th canto, and only one subject matter is Krishna. So, as such, that makes a very clear sense of it. And Sridhar Swami says, Dashame Dashamam Laksham. Like that he says, 10.1.1 purport. Who is defining what is Dasham Skanda is Sridhar Swami. Dashame Dashamam Laksham. In 10th canto, 10th subject matter is told, which is not in lineage. 10th canto, the 8 should be there. But Sridhar Swami is one who is defining, which Kaviraj Goswami quotes this verse. Dashame Dashamam Laksham Ashrita Ashraya Vigraha. Krishnakhyam Param Dhama Krishnakhyam Param Dhama Namami Tat. Like that. So name also he tells. Krishnakhyam. What is that Ashraya? It is called as Krishna. And it is Param Dham and it is Param Sat. So this is Sridhar Swami, who is our Swami, as Mahaprabhu says. One who doesn't follow Swami is prostitute. So Sridhar Swami, on the revelation of Sridhar Swami, the 10th canto is the 10th Ashraya Tattva. Although in the sequence it should be something else. So that is one thing. And of course, our acharyas also are telling Krishna is specifically mentioned in the 10th canto, his pastimes. And 11th canto also is Krishna only, but then his teachings are there. So liberation, mukti, how to attain. So many paths. So reason means this is the only thing I can say. One thing is that subject matter of the canto, the size of the canto. And Sridhar Swami's clear-cut mention of it. That Dashamam Laksham. So these are few things based on that we can see the sequence is little different. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Bhaji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Am I
Last-
audible?
Very good.
Am I audible, Bhaji?
I am able to hear at least. Go ahead. I'll repeat.
Bhaji, we have heard that the sages in Naimisharanya, they discussed all the Puranas there.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So just wanted to clarify because all the Puranas are practically defining different goals in terms of Bhagavatam is really out of everything. So is it that Bhagavatam was discussed at the end, or if all the Puranas were discussed, then what was the ultimate thing they took, the sages took with them? The Bhagavatam conclusion or something else exactly? What was the sequence basically?
Actually, see, when did they hear the Puranas? From whom they heard mainly the Purana?
Romaharshana?
So that's what you see now here. You are seeing the slide, right?
Yes.
So by hearing, now you are able to see? Okay. I am just reading. Romaharshana, what they taught them? By hearing and contemplating various Puranas and other scriptures from Romaharshana, they become inquisitive about spiritual life. Hearing at Naimisharanya, other Purana. So they heard other Puranas and Romaharshana was there. So this is quite before Krishna was present in this planet. Bhagavatam has not yet appeared on. Bhagavatam is not there only. How they will hear?
They are hearing from many years, thousands.
1,000 year sacrifice.
Last time.
So let me complete. So then they heard Sud Goswami also. When they took up bhakti, then their inquisitiveness became weakened and the performance of sacrifice for attaining Swarga became false. So they wanted to go to Swarga. But that became, so gradually interest in spirit and then the other motivation became false on. By associating with Sut Goswami, they developed small taste for bhakti. So ye 28th chapter. Right? And then they heard Bhagavad, right? After the 6 questions. So this is happening. This is after Parikshit left, after Sut Goswami heard that time, and after that also some time has gone. right? So at the end, they are hearing Bhagavatam because Bhagavatam was not there only before. So that is my understanding on whatever information is there currently. Because they were hearing from different speakers like Sud Goswami, Rom, Arshana, and all that. And other topics. And Bhagavatam was not there only, no? It was not compiled only. The real Bhagavatam in its terms, it was not there. So that way. That is some understanding. Okay, abhi dikh raha hai.
Bhagavatam compilations
Hare
was done by
Krishna.
Vyasdev, at least literary composition was done by later.
Huh?
No? The literary composition of all the Puranas and Bhagavatam was done by Vyasdev later, na? That was.
After Krishna left.
That's what.
After Krishna left,
But
Kali entered. After Kali entered, the Brahminical culture degraded. After Brahminical culture degraded, he became dissatisfied. After that, he broke the Vedas into four. So these are the sequence of events. And then he became still dissatisfied. Then Narada comes. And then Bhagavatam comes in. So this is after Krishna leaving. And before punishment of Kali. Like that Vishwanath Chakravarti said. Exact timeline nahi diya, lekin Bhagavatam, like this incidence of Narada meeting Ved Vyas is happening after Krishna left and before the punishment of Kali. That's the time.
so basically, Guruji, they heard all the Puranas first, and at the end they heard Bhagavatam.
Yes, that can be because Bhagavatam was not exist. And other Puranas Vedvas has written and they are properly. Maybe in the version of Bhagavatam which he wrote before. Like there was one version of Bhagavatam earlier. He wrote Bhagavatam, but it was not the way we are reading now. So that is the point. Anything else? I think my connection is not proper, so this connection is not proper.
शुरुआत में था कोई जी
स्पर्श कर दिया हेवी पर्स
हाँ
हेवी टच कर दिया किसी ने
एक्चुअली ये क्या इसकी वजह एक्चुअली ये ना मैं वही सोच रहा था ये मेरा ही
साइड में
गलती
नहीं है
है।
ना उसके
ये कुर्सी के नीचे ना ये जो है ना ये दिस इज टचिंग दिस ना
तो आप उस एक साइड में आ जाएंगे तो अच्छा हो जाएगा
आया था बीच में कनेक्टिंग लिखा है
नो
हाँ जस्ट नाउ
और रियली तो ये लूज कनेक्शन है थोड़ा हिलाओ इसको
तभी इसको अलग ही जगह शिफ्ट करना चाहिए
आप किसमें लिखिए
तो इधर जूम पे ज्वाइन कर लेते सब लोग इधर देख लेंगे हम लोग तो लैपटॉप पे
करेक्ट आई थिंक एडजस्टमेंट
उनका आईडी बोलिए
पास मैसेज नहीं आया ट्रांसफर
आया था वो Anyone else has anything on what we discussed? You had something.
18 Puranas were there, so including
Yes,
and
it was edited.
edit.
Yes. Kritva Anukram, like that the word is.
That's very edited.
It's edited.
These other Puranas that were spoken by Rama so they were directing towards some other deities as the we can say that like they were as per the modes they want the.
Yes, even he spoken Sattvagun Purana also, where Ram Krishna, Vishnu is also.
Shiva is like that.
Yeah, Vishnu also must be there in Sattvagun Purana. Amal Yash. Amal Yash is spotless glories of Krishna. There are glories with spot. So many spots, so many kinds of spots. So that's why led to dissatisfaction of Vyas. Because he wrote glories of bhakti also, but it is not pure. That's why he said na, that Bhavataha anudita prayam yasho bhagavato malam yena vasavana tushyeta manne tad darsanam khila. But you have not written the spotless glories of Krishna. So spotless glories of Krishna is the only way to be satisfied. Even all other glories of Krishna, Vedvas was not satisfied. Not to speak of others. So all kinds of bridge preaching is what Vedvas did. It's all bridge preaching now. His whole purpose was these people are not interested in Krishna, then why I should speak. So he wrote all other things to bring them, like sugar coated medicine. He is not satisfied because he has to come to the point of pure glories of Krishna, and then he can satisfy the readers. So that's the point. The spotless glories of Krishna means three things: the super excellent form of Krishna, his supremely attractive pastimes, and the pure unalloyed devotional service. These three aspects are called Amal Yash. So this has to be there. And this is all 10 subject matter. Huh? Pointing to this. Everything else has to be described in connection to Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, and the method to attain it. That is pure unalloyed devotional service. So unless that is described by Vedas, he will not be satisfied. So that is what is so. Other Puranas have these all topics also. Mahapurana means all 10 topics in it. All 10. Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, everything. Okay.
फाइल चेंज करना पड़ेगा
वो आपके कौन से होगा
जब भी
जो भी होगा क्योंकि चल रहा था ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए
वो क्योंकि वो योजना केवल ऐसे जा रहा है तो कुछ प्रेशराइज तो नहीं कर दिया
आपके अकाउंट से
यहाँ यही देख सकते हैं
देखो तो आप बाद में
नेक्स्ट डे वो वायर ही शिफ्ट कर दो वो तो टच होते ही रहेगा वहां से
सजेशन के है लेकिन अभी
वायरलेस
नहीं जब तक वो अप्लाई नहीं होगा तब तक ये प्रॉब्लम आते रहेगा इधर उधर स्पीकर बैठेगा ही ना क्या करेंगे उसको
लेकिन
वो ध्यान थोड़ी देगा इधर नीचे वायर है कि क्या बात करेगा कि स्पीकर वायर में ध्यान देगा
पैर है ना उधर कुछ है ना आप पैर भी थोड़ी पैर देंगे इसे ठीक है वो बाद में रिपेयर कर देगा उसके ऊपर पर ये गाड़ी का जो फोकस तो चलका लगेगा
अभी स्पेयर है क्या
फिर कुछ नहीं
ये इसमें ज्वाइन कर दो जाने दो कोई टाइम नहीं आ रहा है
ठीक है वो बाद में आप चेक करो आपके पास होने का इसको रिपेयर करके
तुम लोग रूम में ज्वाइन हो जाओ वो आपका लैपटॉप उधर
उधर एक बीच में रहता है
उधर है हमारा हो गया
हमारा हो गया
आ जाइए इधर आ जाइए आ जाइए टच कर ही दिया
कर लेंगे
नहीं हो रहा है
पीछे रखो बाहर करने
अच्छा उनके सामने नहीं गिरा
Okay, Prabhu, so you are able to see somewhere, right?
Yes, true.
यस राइट
So the first canto is in one. What is that?
अधिकार of the
Adhikar Tattva, the qualification of
hearer and qualification of speaker. So the whole content, if you see, is that only. Major portion is qualification of hearer. There are many chapters speaking about Parikshit and his descendants and their devotion and Parikshit's devotion, right? So, lot of
qualification of hearer. And there are many other chapters in first canto which is also showing qualification of other hearers. Like, can you give an example? Those who the wonderful prayers of Queen Kunti, wonderful prayers of the Dwarkavasi ladies. So these people can read the scripture? No. But still their prayers are very deep. So how they can do that? What they did? They have heard. Rukmini also heard. Kunti also heard. And all the Dwarkavasis ladies, so many prayers of ladies are there, right? Their expression, their fortune, they are saying, the gopis are so fortunate. These all amazing verses are spoken by whom? The ladies from Hastinapur, right? Hastinapur ladies, if I am not wrong. Gopyas tapaskam acharan yadamushya rupam lavanya saram asamurdham ananya siddham, etc. All these verses, so these are all the devotees who have heard. And there is one fellow who could not hear properly. His story is also there. Who is that? Dhritarashtra. That chapter is there or not? 13th chapter. So he didn't develop much. So knowledge and detachment can come by bhakti, by hearing. Whereas if it's not proper, then it will come like Dhritarashtra, then forceful. So like that, there is lot of content about different hearers. So one was Saunakadi Rishi, which we discussed. They also progressed. Dhritarashtra progressed to some extent. At least he became Dhira. If not Uttama, what is that? Narottama. Became Dhira by qualified hearing after Duryodhana left. Right? That's why we all should have some Vidura. Till the time Duryodhana is not dying, we will not. We have hope that Vidura will come. And so that's the point. One senior devotee was saying that we should have one Vidura. Because Duryodhana, we are attached to Duryodhana. So after Duryodhana kills. So like that, there is lot of description about Adhikar. Okay. So that is the first canto. And Adhikar comes by hearing. Right? Hearing from. So let us see ahead. And what? Okay, first let us see. Second canto, what is the tattva of second canto? Any guess? What is the subject matter in first 3 chapters? If you can summarize, then you will understand what is the tattva in second canto. Yes. First 3 chapters, what is happening?
Universal form of the form.
Universal form is there, that is in first chapter. But overall, what is the subject matter there?
Creation.
Creation is one part of it. There is description of other processes, na?
Glorification of Bhakti
Yes,
Yoga
Abhi
over
there.
other process. How Bhakti Yoga is the best.
Yes. Correct. So Abhideya or Sadhan Tattva. What is to be practiced? So these 2 things are very important in any. See, any college you enter, first you have to become qualified. That is Adhika. And after you join the college, what you have to do? You have to do the study. So same ways, first is Adhikar Tattva, then there is Sadhan Tattva. Sadhan Tattva is Bhakti is the best process for whatever you want. Akama, Sarvakamo va, Mokshakama udaradhihi, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta. whatever you want, bhakti is the best sadhana for you. Don't go to demigods. There is demigod worship condemned. Hmm? There is Ashtanga Yoga and all that, Krama Mukti and all that. You have heard that? So many methods were told, but they were all told to be inferior than bhakti. And bhakti can give all results of other processes if one wants. However, the ultimate result of bhakti can be given only by bhakti only. That is love of God. So the establishment of that is there in first three chapters. And towards the end, the Shaunakadi Rishi starts criticizing a person who is not doing bhakti. Right? You remember something from there? They criticize very thoroughly, right? So any criticism you remember? This criticism we can remember.
Sarvakim na jivanti.
Yeah, correct.
Sarvakim na jivanti. Are the trees not living? Even he's breathing that ball. What we say?
Yeah.
Bellows
Bellow,
of
bellow is breathing.
blacksmith. Like that, and the tree, the legs which don't go to temple are like trunks.
Trunks of the tree. The legs which don't go to temple are like trunks of the tree. The eyes which don't see the form of deity are like peacock feathers, plumes. And ears are like snake holes. The speech is like the speech of frog, which is not glorifying Krishna. So every limb is criticized. And then full person is also criticized. And calling it as what? Shvavid Varaha Oshtra. One who praises someone who has not heard Harikatha is like what? Shva, dog. Vid Varaha means stool eating hog. Vid Varaha. Oshtra means camel. Khara means ass. So this is very sarcastic criticism. One who praises one who has not heard Harikatha. That person is criticized fully. Then one limb is criticized. Then his antakaran is criticized at the last. What is that? That is the most striking verse and humbling verse. Is the last verse of that chapter. That criticism is what? Last but one is telling that someone who has not taken bath in the dust of the pure devotee, he is living dead. So whole person is criticized. Right? One limb is criticized, then whole person is criticized. One who has not taken bath, what is that? Verse, this is 23rd verse, 2, 3, 23. So what it says? Jivan shavo bhagavatangri renu. Na jatu martyo abhilabheta yastu. So this is full person is criticized again. That he is living dead. He is living but he is dead body. Because he has not bathed himself in the dust of the pure devotee's lotus feet. But the last verse is most humbling verse. What is that? The famous verse called steel framed heart. So that is the highest criticism of a person whose heart is not melting if he is chanting the holy name, right? So like that, so what it shows is bhakti is the highest sadhana. Anyone who is not doing bhakti is useless. So this is how it is concluded by Shaunakadi Rishi. And then Sukadeva Goswami is praying in the fourth chapter. So first three are that only, that among all sadhanas, bhakti is best. In spite of if you have other desires also, bhakti is the best for attaining that also. So etavan, that verse is there. Sankhya Yogyabhyam Swadharma Parinishthaya. Janma Labha Parapumsam Ante Narayana Sutra. That is there. And so these are all verses there in first chapter and third chapter. So that's the subject matter of second canto main is sadhan tattva. The abhideya has to be bhakti. That to Shuddha bhakti. Tivrena bhakti yogena means what? The abhideya is pure at least. If not the prayojan, the abhideya like Dhruva Maharaj was practicing pure bhakti in his abhideya. He was not mixing anything in that. He was doing what Narada told him. And then he got purified. Right? So at least that should be there. There should not be any mixture in the bhakti. Even if one wants something else, akama or sarva kama or moksha kama. But tivra bhakti means that bhakti which is not mixed with other processes. So it's like sun without covering of clouds. So it is very tivra. It has lot of potency. So that's how it is concluded. And then the rest of the chapters which recently you discussed. So there are two conversations. One is Narada Brahma. That is, I think, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 5, 6, and 7. That is what conversation? Narada and Brahma.
4, 5, 6, 7.
4 is more or less his prayer song. He begins the conversation there in the last verse. And actually it begins with 5th chapter. So you can say 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like Mangalacharan of Shukdev Goswami, one of the most profound chapters of Bhagavatam. The speaker of Bhagavatam heart is seen in his prayers. Right? His experience and his dependence on Krishna. Can you imagine Sukdev Goswami's dependence on Krishna? He is the greatest greatest devotee who is revealing Srimad Bhagavatam. But his prayers are there. So his prayers are the most confidential because that heart is revealing prayers of all other hearts, of all other characters of Bhagavatam. Right? So his heart is there in 4th chapter. So 4, 5, 6, 7 is what? Brahma, Narada, Samvad. So there also you see many topics of Bhagavatam are discussed. There is Sarga is there, some little Visarga also. There is Ishanu Katha also. Right? He speaks 7 chapter is full of all the pastimes of all the incarnations. Right? 7 chapter is just list of incarnation. So he speaks about one avatara, but he speaks about Krishna in 10 verses. So that shows again the difference. He spoke one verse for one avatara. For Rama, he speaks 3 verses. For Krishna, 10 verses. You can see the difference everywhere. Why he has to speak? Because he knows whom he is speaking of. And then in 7th chapter, that conversation gets over. Then what is 8th chapter? 8th chapter of 2nd canto. The questions by Parikshit. There are innumerable questions. And there are some very important statements in that chapter, which I wanted to put in slide. I will just show that. Yeah, here it is. So these are all questions are all about this. So many questions you see. These are all topics of the question. Practically everything. So important statements of chapter 8. You are able to see. So please read. This is in the 7th purport of that. 7 verse purport. Please read. Yeah, sorry.
Srimad Bhagavatam is
Yes, bro.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is science of Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, all questions that may arise in the mind of a serious student must be cleared by the statements of the author. In the process of devotional service, the first step is to take shelter of the spiritual master and then inquire from the spiritual master all about the process. The inquiry is essential for immunity to all kinds of offenses on the path of devotional service. Even if one is fixed in devotional service, like Maharaj Parikshit, he must still inquire from the realized spiritual master all about this.
So here, what are the important things you felt? What is to be done and why it is to be done? What Prabhupada is saying?
Spiritual master.
Okay, but for what?
Sincere inquiry.
Yes, sincere inquiry should be presented. And which may arise. So it has to be, must be clear. Means what? We should not keep the inquiries with us. We have to inquire. And who will inquire? Which student will inquire? Serious student. So there can be many types of students. But serious student will do inquiry. He will must be clear. See, must is different. Because doubts are like demons. Doubts doesn't allow us to take shelter of Krishna properly. And samshayatma vinashyati. Krishna says, Adnya ashraddha danasya samshayatma vinashyati. Among the three, the third person is criticized more. So the doubts, inquiries must be clear. So one may ask, why we have to, क्या ये प्रश्न पूछते रहते, क्या ये, you know, what is the purpose of question? What the Prabhupada is saying there? What happens by that? Correct. So what happens by that? What Prabhupada is saying there? Yes, what Prabhupada is saying?
One is fixed in our business.
No, that is not there. Even one is fixed in devotional service, he still inquires. Even if you are fixed, you should inquire. So Parikshit was fixed already, right? वो इतना छोड़ के आ गया, मतलब कुछ डाउट है क्या? वो कुछ डाउट नहीं है, तो भी बहुत प्रश्न पूछा ना. So why question have to be asked? What Prabhupada is saying there? Yes. Yes. So questions are asked. So what will happen? Not for some information or all that will be there, but the most important thing of inquiry is we will become immune to offenses, committing on. So Prabhupada is saying this inquiry is essential for immunity from all kinds of offense. So what happens is the offensive thought process goes away by the inquiry. So there is Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think our Devati Prabhu took that section, right? One Brahmana was doubting about Nityanand Prabhu. Someone is hearing some lecture, I think. Anyway, good parallel process. So you remember that he took that Brahmana inquired about Nityanand Prabhu that, my dear Lord, only you can clarify. You know, I am asking something. Very carefully he asks, because Nityanand Prabhu is very great soul. But how he is not behaving like the Shastra, you know, he is wearing some costly ornaments, chewing pan and all that, right? You remember that section? It is there in Chaitanya Bhagavat, not Chaitanya Chaitanya. So he inquired and then he became free from offenses. So that's what to become immune to offenses. So immunity is even more powerful, right? Than, you know, remedy of offense. Remedy means what? After committing. Immunity means what? Before only. Before committing only. Like you take the corona, that immunity thing. So that's why inquiry is important. What Parikshit is asking. Parikshit Uvacha. The first question, Prabhupada is writing this, the importance of it. Why is he asking? And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says here that the examples of practice of pure devotion to actually become fixed in that. So that's why it has to be inquired. Like, so that is seventh. So now 24th verse, which is somewhat closer to last question. Yeah, 24th, someone else can read. Maybe some online devotee can read. Haribo. 20, please read. 24th.
The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive. Inquisitiveness on the part of disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple.
So very selected words are used by Prabhupada. Progressive disciple. One who wants to make progress. Inquisitiveness is greatly necessary. Necessary itself is word is necessary, right? But greatly necessary. And then Guru is prepared to, because he is happy. Yes. And 27th, please read, continue. Very clearly you are reading. Please read.
Srimad Bhagavatam can be legitimately discussed only among the devotees of the Lord. As the Bhagavad Gita was unauthoritatively discussed between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord and the devotee respectively, similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the postgraduate study of the Bhagavad Gita, can be discussed between the scholars and devotees like Sukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Otherwise, the real taste of the nectar cannot be relished.
Yeah. So now the questions are the source of beginning the discussion. And that discussion is for the purpose of this immunity and progress. That is okay. But what is more point told in this 27th verse, Bhakti? Yes. So what is Prabhupada saying there? The real taste of nectar of Bhagavatam cannot be relished without such discussion. So we should discuss their discussion. Why is asking this question? What is being answered? And that brings out the rasa. So this is right at the outset. The whole chapter is all about questions. And Prabhupada is giving all levels of importance of it. Because it is discussion on Bhagavatam. So recently His Holiness Bhakti Padma Saurabh Pracharak Maharaj was telling very nicely in the class which he took in VCC that there are contradictions in Srimad Bhagavatam. But why contradictions are there? Like the verse he took was like Vidura is asking Uddhava that how are Krishna Balaram? This is which I think we are going to discuss that. Third canto, first chapter only. Second chapter, 20th verse. So he is affected by that all that Prabhashana. Then he meets Uddhava and then he asks, first question he asks, that how are the Krishna Balaram, who are maintainers of entire world and they are creating all welfare, how are they? Is it not a contradictory question? Krishna and Balaram are source of all protection and maintenance of entire material world. वो कैसे है? वो कहीं भी कुछ गड़बड़ हो सकता है, बट वो कैसे? तो ये कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन नहीं हुआ क्या? So why this is there in Bhagavatam? So Bhagavatam has so many contradictions. Contradictory. It's like you go to doctor. He was giving example, and you are sick, and then you go to doctor and ask, "How doctor? How are you?" Something like that. So Krishna and Balram, how are Krishna and Balram? Are they anytime in distress? It is asking a question like that. So it's a contradiction. And Prabhupada said these questions are queer. They are psychological, not practical. No, Prabhupada's words this. So, but why this contradiction? He made a very profound point that contradictions are there in Bhagavatam so that we can discuss them, and when we discuss, we can release rasa. Just as you have, if you just put in your mouth, you can't much enjoy, but it has to be crushed. So the so Dwarka, the Brahmanas are blessing Krishna. किसको मरते नहीं Pallanda. There is one special Alvar song also, right? Well, what is this? Is it correct? So it is correct also, it is not. We can say See what he is saying, legitimately discussed only among devotees. That is the second part. And then he is telling Krishna and Arjuna, and then he made a point that Bhagavad Gita is also very. It's amazing. Actually, entire Bhagavatam is there in Bhagavad Gita in a very precise way. All sections are there, like Kapila section. So Bhagavad Gita. So unless we go into such discussions, there is no rasa. And the whole purpose of Bhagavatam is what? Nigama kalpataror galitam pha. Shukamukad amrita. So the purpose is, that's why it is important. So sadhan see, yeah, I'll share now.
Making impact.
Hmm?
Video is
अपना एक्चुअली ये लगा सकते हैं, पता नहीं।
लैंड क्या
हम्म
लैंड
So chapter, now you have understood the purpose of first two cantos, right? What is that? Adhikar Tattva and Sadhana. So one has to approach with proper understanding of these two things. Sharing Now it will be better, hopefully. Now sharing karo, screen sharing.
I think he is not able to make post.
अरेबल होस्ट बनाने के लिए कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा.
होस्ट बनाना मीटिंग
Then someone else can become. Again, he can join. It works like ISKCON only. In charge is there, that is gone. Next person becomes in charge. Whosoever is there available. He became host. No? Okay, now sound is okay. I think now I can no. हो गया, yes. So having entered into this first two cantos and the purpose of it, right? Adhikar Tattva and Sadhan Tattva. So we also know that Bhagavatam is also compared with what? Krishna's different limbs also. Right? So first two cantos are what? Padau Yadiyo Prathama Dvitiya. So that is the beginning of darshan. Right? So the right mood can be developed by meditating on the lotus feet. So there are so many verses which glorify the meditation on lotus feet. So meditating on the contents of first two cantos is meditating on lotus feet of Krishna. So we will able to develop right spirit of servitude to approach the rest of the darshan, third, fourth, fifth, and all. So that's why it's very important. So now coming to last two chapters, they are the most important chapters, right? Of the second canto, which just now you learned from Madhav Gopal. Even I wanted to attend that, but I was not here. Madhav Gopal, that time only he was studying these commentaries of Acharyas of 10th canto and all that. So it's very well studied, very wonderful Vaishnava. So I think you are able to see the slide. Yeah. So 9th and 10th chapters are like what? The entry point. So you have to start seeing Bhagavad. You have to see, right? You need a specs for that. So specs has two aspects. So 9th chapter is what? And 10th chapter is what? So please read the left one. 9th chapter. What is written?
18,000 Bhagavatam in most condensed spoken by Lord.
Yeah. So what is there in 9th chapter? Chatushloki. Chatushloki is what? It is the condensed content of Bhagavad. Can you imagine 18,000 verses? Such elaborate thing is condensed in a very 4 verses. It takes the ability to do that. So only Krishna could do. So he only spoke 4 verses. And it is Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojan. Right? So it's very precise and very deep. But so that is the content through which we have to see. So all other verses are either part of any of them. Right? So that's the way we should try to see. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. What is being spoken here? Because there is nothing else. Same thing Mahaprabhu spoke to Prakashanand Saraswati. That Vedas are very vast, but only 3 subject matters. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. That's it. There's nothing much. Only what varies is the depth of description. That's all. But subject matter is this one. So that's why it's a very important chapter, which you nicely heard. Right. So that should be the first side thing which we should see when we are going to third canto till 12th canto. That content is this. Content is this. So Sambandha, Vijaya, Prayojan. And yeah, the verses you discussed in detail. So we don't have to go into that. However, there is Dhyana, there is Vijnana, then there is Rahasya, and then there is last one verse. That is the most important. What is that verse? Last verse of Chatushloki, which is very, very important. Because Rahasya will be attained by that verse. Even the Jnana and Vijnana also will be awakened by fourth one. What is the fourth verse of Chatushloki? Etavad eva jigyasam tattva jidnyasunatmanah anvaya vyatirekaabhyam yatsat sarvatra. So this verse is also emphasizing jidnyasyam. One has to be inquisitive up till this point. Till the time he doesn't understand rahasya, he should go on inquiry. That is sadhan. Right? So one has to be seeker. That's what I think Maharaj was also saying. One has to be seeker. Seeker of absolute truth. Jigyas. Yes. Then we will search. Otherwise, we will search something else. So, eta, and this is Lord is saying, etavat eva jigyasa. So that requires bona fide person to become humble at. Right? So, etavat eva jigyasa. Tattva jidnyasunat. Anvaya vyatirekabhyam. Yatsat sarvatra sarvada. So it is a very cryptic definition of bhakti only. It is bhakti only one will come to practice. Because he will understand that it works in all times, at all places. And it is established by positive statements and negative statements all throughout Bhagavad. So that is the one side of the specs which we have to cook. So what is the second side of the spec before entering into the 10 topics? So what is the right side you read?
Systematic methodology of Shukadeva Goswami's presentation of entirety of content of 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam in 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, revealing Ashray Tattva, that is Raja Krishna.
Yes. So we have to approach by the method which is given by the author, by the speaker. So he is telling that I am speaking in this 10 topics way. So we also should approach this vast content with this methodology. Not any other methodology. So that's why these two chapters are very essential. Right? So that's what is the thing now. Now, there's something more I wanted to say. So more or less, this is about the first two cantos. So I think we did discuss about the content and the purpose and the context also, right? And how we are going to enter into third canto, where the 10 topics begin. Right? So just maybe the three analogies, I think you remember, Bhagavatam is compared with three things. What are those three? Of course, it is compared with many things, but what are essentially three things which Bhagavatam is compared with in whatever you studied till now? First two cantos only. Correct. So the best analogy of Bhagavatam is what? It is a completely ripened, fallen fruit of entire Vedic literature, which is like Kalpata. Right? So that is one analogy, and that is the ultimate analogy. Means that's the purpose of Bhagavatam is to taste rasa. Not amras, but that rasa of exchange of love between Krishna and his devotees. What other analogies are there? Hmm?
Personality.
Yeah, that is there in other Purana, within Bhagavatam only. Yeah, correct. Sun. Puranarko adhunodita. Krishna Swadam Bhagate Dharma Dhyana Dibisra. So sun, what sun does? Sun opens the context fully to be able to see and interact properly. Right? So when night is there, we can't see things in this world. Right? So it becomes very difficult to interact and understand and move also without sun. So Bhagavatam will, when sun is arisen, you can see this material world in its reality. So that's how it is enlightening. Sun is enlightening, right? And at times it is hot. Now it is becoming hot also. It's hot. In summer it is nice. Not in winter it is nice, but summer it is hot. So what other analogy is given? One more. In the prayer of Sud Goswami to Shukdev Goswami it comes. What is that? One more analogy. So I will just show you the hint. Yes, correct. What is that? Like lamp. So now lamp and sun, there is a difference, right? So lamp can give you little bit of context and you become fearless. That's all. You can start walking little bit with the lamp.
Oh, the lamp is not able to see sun.
No, not that analogy. What he is saying is that verse, how it starts, I think we prayed at the beginning, there's a prayer. Yasyanu Swanu Bhavam Akhila Shruti Saranekam Adhyatma Deepa. So it's a lamp Adhyatma Deep. So these three analogies are connected by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti with the 10 topics. So 10 topics you heard, Sarga, Visarga, lamp. So the lamp analogy will make you fearless. See, this room is completely dark. And if you enter, it will be fearful. Whether what is there below, we don't know. But if you have a little bit lamp, then gradually you can move. Right? Fear is gone. So he says that lamp analogy means when one understands the two topics, that is Sarga and Nirodha. Everything is created, everything is destroyed. Everything of this material world is temporary. So he becomes fearless. But the purpose of Bhagavatam is to make you fearless. Not really. It's a side effect. Then what is the next analogy? Sun. So if lamp is there, but now let us say morning happens, then lamp is required? No. You remove the lamp. Now you can see whole thing only. You can start moving, talking, interacting without any sort of disturbance or fear. Right? So that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur compares with understanding 9 topics. Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Utai, all these things. These are the things which happen in the material world. So you will able to understand what is happening with you and what is happening in this world with everyone. Very clearly. You can able to see the cause of it and the effect of it, and you can even predict what is going to happen. Because the systems are in place. So that is what is the analogy of sun. So as I think there is one verse in Bhagavad Gita that transcendental knowledge is like sun. Sun is awake, horizon, then everything is clearly seen. So this world, then all kinds of paths, pravrutti, nivrutti, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, everything else can be understood by understanding what, how many topics? 9 topics. Right? But is that the purpose of Bhagavatam? No. Bhagavatam is neither made for one to become fearless, neither it is made for one to enlighten and see this world in its truth. No. That is not the main purpose of Bhagavatam, although it will give. That's the tree analogy actually. Tree analogy means you can see the twigs, you can see the leaves, flowers, fruits of the tree, but you can't see the root, right? So similarly, these topics, what are these sarga, visarga, sthanam, poshanam, uti are the things which are happening with us. Right? What is uti? Uti are karma vasanas which we have. So how we deal with that is given in 7th canto. Or then what is next is manvantarani saddharma. So saddharma is bhakti. So what is the main, most important saddharma is sharanagati. So that's what you learned in 8th canto. The surrender of Bali Maharaj, pure surrender. And then there are other mixed surrenders of Gajendra, Devatas, and even Mohini Murti means our Shiva and Satyavat Muni, Artha Jidnasu Arthati Gyan. So Sharanagati, after Sharanagati, what happens? Anartha Vritti, that is 9th canto. 9th canto, you see all kinds of different stories, right? Very striking stories. So they are all clarifying what happens in this world very clearly. One gets a clear idea like a sun has arisen. But that's not the purpose of Bhagavatam. So the ultimate purpose of Bhagavatam is fruit, tasting the fruit which doesn't have any peel, doesn't have any seed, and it doesn't have to be chewed also. It has to be drunk also. So that is what rasa. That is loving relationship between Lord and his devotees. It's an emotional level of consciousness. The exchanges which are happening. And that's the purpose. That's what is in 10th topic. 10th topic is will give us the experience of rasa. If one approaches like this. So this he gives in the very first verse of Bhagavad. Purport. In his purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives this. So that's how it is very important to see the Bhagavatam through 10 topics. And take the lessons from Bhagavatam in light of 10 topics. Otherwise, there can be n number of lessons brought out from n number of pastimes. But the purpose of speaker is a particular purpose, where he is speaking in a particular methodology, and he wants to teach us something. So we should try to align with that, to actually approach. He wants to give us the fruit, right? So we have to approach the way he has told, Sukadeva Goswami. And Prabhupada writes all these things in his purports. So this is, but there is one more analogy which he gives, which is alarming. What is that analogy? Bhagavatam is like, this is not there anywhere. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur only writes. What is that analogy? Mohini Murti. So why Mohini Murti? Because Mohini Murti gave different things to demons and different things to devatas. So Bhagavatam also, it will give different things the way you approach. So the demons were very allured by the external glitter glamour of the Mohini Murti. But they got any nectar of Bhagavad, nectar of to drink? No. But the devatas followed the order of Lord. So they were given nectar by Mohini Murti. Same is the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam will act as Mohini Murti if we don't approach it rightly. And examples are given 12th canto, 5th chapter, 5th verse. Suddenly, Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking Jnana. At the end, last chapter he spoke, it is Jnana. Last chapter. 12th canto. Mohini Murti example he gives. So, why it is spoken? To bewilder the people who approach Bhagavatam in the right, wrong attitude. So they are directed to impersonate. Then they say, see, at the end he spoke Jnana. That is the conclusion of Bhagavatam. So they get Mohini Murti's glitter and glam. They don't get the nectar. Same thing Sut Goswami does at the end. So all the pastimes can give so many different lessons, depending on how you approach. So best thing is to stick to the purpose of the author, Shukdev Goswami, why he has spoken it, and Srila Prabhupada's and purports of previous Acharya. Because Prabhupada, what he did whole night, he was doing that only. No? He was reading all the purports and he was assimilating, relishing, and adding his own realizations. So there is enough there in Prabhupada's purport. But let us relish that first. You don't have to extrapolate that to tell something more. Let us try to understand what Prabhupada has given. And if we are trying to understand, then let us refer what he has referred. Because we'll understand then what Prabhupada has written, because he has not written himself everything. There is devotional ecstasy, surely. He says that. So let us refer to the purports of previous acharyas with blessings. Then we can understand what Prabhupada is saying. We can take lessons from that. That is the best way to stick to the parampara. Rather than bringing out so many things which can be brought out, that's okay. But the point is, there is a particular methodology in which it has to be approached, as told by the author. So that is Mohini Murti analogy. So it has connection with the 10 topics also. Not 10 topics, sorry. It has a connection with the way you approach the book. So because the book is not book is Krishna. So Krishna, Yathamam Prapatti. So that way, this is very important. So you have concluded your preface now. No, prelude to Bhagavata. First two cantos. They are like, actually, I don't know where it is told. They are like door. So you see, door to enter Srimad Bhagavata. So one door is telling Adhikar Tattva, one door is telling Sadhan Tattva. Now you enter. And then you wear the specs. One is all content of Sambandha Abhidheya provision. And the methodology through which 10 topics we approach the content of Bhagavad through third canto onwards. So that's how these are the few points which I felt to share. Maybe there is something. Let me see if in case something remained which I thought of. Yes, one thing TLC I wanted to show. I'm just showing. This is recent in Mayapur. I was trying to read Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So Prabhupada is writing very amazing thing. What is our goal? Yeah. So this is TLC introduction. Mostly introduction or preface or something. Yeah. So I'm just reading some points here. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informs us that in every country and every scripture, there is some hint of love of Godhead. But no one knows what love of Godhead actually is. The Vedic scriptures, however, are different in the way that they direct the individual the proper way to love God. Other scriptures do not give information on how one can love God, nor they actually define or describe what and who the Godhead actually is. So other scripture, what it means here? Any guesses? Vedic scriptures, he said, at least give the proper idea of love of God. What is meaning of other scriptures here? Any guess? Other religion scriptures. They don't say, they just thou love God with all your heart, but who is that Godhead? How nothing is described. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Very culturally he's saying other scriptures. All this thing. Although they officially promote love of God, right? One should love God with all your heart, soul, and all. But they have no idea how to execute it. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the practical demonstration of how to love God in a conjugal relationship. Can you imagine this is going to direct the highest one? Taking the part of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to love Krishna as Radharani loved. So he quotes that verse translation. The three internal reasons of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appeal. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima, Kidrusho Vanayeva, etc. This brings up to the question of who is Srimati Radharani and what is Radha Krishna is. So then that is the fourth verse. Ladini Shakti Rasmatana. You can see that. And here is the point which I wanted to mention. To learn how Krishna enjoys pleasure, we must study the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we should study the 10th canto, in which Krishna's pleasure potency is displayed in the pastimes with Srimati Radharani and damsels of touch. So very clearly he is saying, means the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, what you will understand in first 9 cantos, indirectly how Krishna is enjoying pleasure. And directly in 10th canto in the Vrindavan pastimes. So that is compared with the lotus face of Krishna, isn't it? The 10th canto. And the Ras Panchadhyaya is the smile of Krishna. So these all things so all other cantos are also how Krishna enjoys pleasure on. But that is not directly Krishna. These are all like expansions of Krishna. Other incarnations and all other things. So this is the point which I wanted to say, where Prabhupada is saying. And other thing which will come in the 3rd canto, which Prabhupada says here, is the Kapil Shiksha also. So Prabhupada says that Lord Chaitanya, anyway, here only, let us see. Yeah, you can read that highlighted portion.
Lord Chaitanya also thought that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless narration of transcendental knowledge, and that the highest goal in human life is to develop unalloyed love of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya's teachings are identical to those given by Lord Kapil, the original propounder of Sankhya Yoga, the Sankhya system of philosophy.
Yeah, so I was wondering why Prabhupada is singling out Kapila here. There are so many other teachings in Bhagavatam, Rishabdev teachings. So that will also come in 3rd canto, towards the end. Kapila teachings is the one of the biggest section in Bhagavatam. Around 8, more than 8 chapters. So Lord Chaitanya's teachings are identical. Well, so Lord Chaitanya spoke about Vraj Bhakti. And he came to give. So Kapila also speaks about it actually. That's why he's saying. So that is also very important part which will come towards the end of 3rd canto. Right? So this is about the first 2 cantos. I wanted to say. So it is 1:48 now. Till what time we are supposed to go? Till 2 or 2:15? What is the time? So if I have one more thing to say, but in case any discussion or questions, comments, clarifications are there, we can do that. Or we can go for that. Anyone has anything? Yeah.
Kapila, Lord Kapila elaborately didn't discuss about that.
He didn't discuss elaborately, but there are clear verses speak about it. Priya, Surud, Saka, these are rasas, where they are. There is one verse which says that my associates, those who are in relationship with friend, lover, and parents, and servants, they are not affected by the wheel of time. So where is this exchange? There. And in definition of pure devotional service also, Swabhaviki. So that is speaking about Raga. Vritti Swabhaviki Tuya. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur very clearly says that this is referring to Raga. So he speaks about it. Kapila speaks about it. Madhguna Shruti Matrena and so many places. So that's why he's singling out Kapila. Na? There are so many other teachings. And Kapila is Sankhya Yoga. Right? A lot of philosophy. But that is all other paths. You have to just hear about them. Anything else? Anyone else has? What we discussed. So, just one thing I wanted to add was third canto. Now we are going to begin. So, third canto succinctly has 3 sections. So, what is the subject matter of third canto? Main sarg. Right? So, the 2 major sections of third canto are Baddha Srushti Leela and Mukta Srushti Leela. These are the 2 essential topics. So, chapter number 5 to 19 is Baddha Srushti Leela. So, what all things are there in that? You can see. Yeah. I'm just opening the contents. Mukta Srushti. So, I am just projecting these titles of chapters by which you can understand what is there in that. So, from 5 to 19. So, if you see 5 to 19, what is there in essence is the 5, 6, 7, 8 is more or less speaking about the description of Chatushloki by Maitreya Muni. Actually, there is creation in that. 5, 6, 7, all these are actually creation. Like Sushti Lila, that's why I'm saying Sushti. How a living entity's consciousness is trapped in matter is very, very graphically described. Mechanism is described of the entanglement of Jiva's consciousness. Mechanism, very deeply by Maitreya here, especially 6th chapter you see, 3, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So, and then how Brahmaji produces manifestation of Brahma, and then Brahmaji is praying before his seva. Beautiful chapter, one of the best chapters. And how different things happen, right? And the second part is what? In that same section is Hiranyaksha and Varahari, right? So that is a person who is completely enamored by matter. What happens? And how he is finished by the Supreme Lord. So that is what is, there is a case study and there is a description of mechanism. That's what Leela, Baddha Sushti Leela. 5 to 19. 20 to 33 is what? Mukta Sushti Leela. Why? Because, of course, the first part I didn't say that how did Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu were born? That is also there, no? The Diti and Kashyapa meeting at wrong time. So that is also Baddha, how this is created. So now in 20th onwards, Kardama and Devahuti, creating Kapil Dev. And then teachings of Kapila include creation. This is the most comprehensive description of creation because he is telling how to get out of it very clearly. Kapil Dev. So that's why it is Mukta Srishti Leela. And he explains about creation in 26, 27, 28 chapters. And then he teaches all the teachings of Bhakti very elaborately, which includes Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti, Raganuga Sadhan Bhakti, everything is there. And how transmigration happens. So this, and how one can get out of this. So these are the 2 major portions, 5 to 19 and 22. So 20. So you can see 20 onwards is Maitreya Vidura, then their marriage happens and their Vedic wonderful life, right? Devahuti and Kapila, Devahuti and Kardama. And then they produce Kapil Muni. And then Kapil Muni teaches his mother. So this is 26, 27, these are all chapters. And then there is 25 and 29 are the most important chapters because they speak about the glories of Bhakti and what is meaning of practicing Abhideya proper. That is 29th, the most important chapter, where the devotional service in 3 modes is described. and importance of respecting every living entity is told. So this is Mukta Srishti Lila. However, in the beginning, I didn't tell about the beginning only. So that is the third and the most important thing. Then after entering, the first thing is the goal is shown in the first 4 chapters, which we are going to discuss. What are the first 4 chapters of this canto? Third canto. In short, it is the discussion between whom? Vidura Maitreya starts in 5th chapter. Before meeting Maitreya, whom he meets?
Uddhava.
Yes.
Uddhava.
So most of it, actually 2, 3, 4 chapter, this is all discussion between Vidura and Uddhava. And Uddhava is a person who is revealing the highest platforms of philosophy and his experience. He is showing, in the sense, he is not showing, he is experiencing, and Bhagavatam is showing. Right? So after hearing questions, he went into ecstasy for 45 minutes. And then Lord has to tell him, Are Baba, jao, thoda mera bhakt ko thoda uttar do. He is disturbed. Vidura is disturbed. Please help him. So the highest ecstasies are beginning of this chapter, beginning of this canto. And the person of cadre of Vidura is also disturbed. He was experiencing Krishna at all holy places. See, Vidura is such a personality that he can go to Dwarka and associate with Krishna and serve Krishna, right? But why he didn't go? Krishna was present now when he was disrespected. Krishna was present on the planet. Why he didn't go and serve Krishna there? But he can hear there also, na? In Dwarka he can see also. He can serve also and hear also. Why didn't he go there? Yes, why he did not go? So it will come in the chapter.
It was told by Ram that it's stay there.
That was to Uddhav. Vidura ko nahi. That heavy instruction was for Uddhava. Because he was entrusted with the most confidential things about Krishna's disappearance, which also is a part of this section which we are going to discuss. Recent classes of Maharaj are all in this section and they opened eyes more. Actually, very profound lectures. So I would request all of you, please hear those lectures. These 2 classes, 2 or 3 classes. Recently in Sunday, Bhagavatam class, Maharaj, because this section is going on in Chowpat. 4th chapter. 2 Sunday classes. Once where he glorified Param Vijay Gopal Krishna Maharaj, that whole thing where Radhisham was, that class on. So Uddhava, why did Vidura not go? Because he was, genuinely humble. He felt I was with this Kauravas, I am contaminated now. I am not qualified to go to Krishna and serve him. Let me get purified. This is pure devotee. This is his consciousness. And then he 35 years is wandering and is experiencing Krishna. But still, he got affected by hearing the news of what? Prabhash. And his disturbance is coming in form of entire chapter. 7th chapter. Not 7th chapter, actually, 1st chapter. Sorry. 1st chapter of this third canto. That's what I said. His questions, just now I quoted Maharaj class. His questions are psychological, not practical, because he is emotionally affected. So he's asking the questions about the people who have left. Can you imagine? Because he is emotionally affected. He's disturbed. And he is specified by whom? Uddhava. Because Uddhava is also emotionally affected, but now he is stable. That's what Maharaj was saying, that both are in crisis, but still their discussion pacified both of them. Of course, Uddhava was greatly situated far better. So This is a very important section because even he was having difficulty in digesting what happened in Prabhash. So these truths are revealed by Uddhava. And the highest emotions are revealed by Uddhava. And glorifying the Amal Yash, which I said. So all these verses are there in this section, especially second chapter and fourth chapter. And if you see Sanatan Shiksha of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu takes one verse spoken by Uddhava and elaborates in 50 verses. One word, that is sweetness of Krishna. There is greatness of Krishna, that verse he elaborates in 60 verses. This is all there in Sanatan Shiksha. From where the verses are, this section on. And the supreme beauty of Krishna, that verse also is here. The verse which disturbed Sukadeva Goswami is also here. Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam. All verses are spoken by Uddhava. Because Uddhava was entrusted the highest knowledge by Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took those verses to teach Sanatana Goswami about greatness and sweetness of Krishna. That is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, 20, 21, 22 chapters. So this is a very, very important section which tells us the supremacy of Krishna in Vrindavan, his loving exchanges with his devotees, and how difficult it is to understand this. So that's the subject matter. In essence, it is showing the goal to us that eventually we have to reach here. So that's how it is beginning. First 4 chapters. Uddhava is telling this is what, my dear Parikshit, this is the goal. And then he starts with Sarga, Shushti Leela. Okay, so this is how. So let us begin tomorrow with this background. Hare Krishna. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Devotees can just wait. There is one
Announcement.
point. Some announcement, some discussion which actually have to go check regarding the next unit. So,
You are able to hear.
all devotees are able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So actually next month we had planned our next section from in the April last week almost. But some devotees, because His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj's first and this is there, so they were going to Vrindavan. So that's why we need to adjust the dates, it seems. So I wanted to ask whether so we have option is now we cannot postpone it to the week next to it, that is 28th April to 2nd April, because then we have TTC here in NVCC. So only option we have is doing it in the either 7th April to 11th April, 14th April to 18th April. So these two options we have, it seems. So I wanted to ask all devotees which they are comfortable with.
Is it clear?
Okay.
Or you put in chat box?
14th to 18th April. Okay, how many are okay with 14th to 18th April? Please raise your hands or. Abhigovinpur, I'm not able to see anybody, so you just take the count there.
14 to 18 is okay. हम वृंदावन कब जा रहे हैं?
Also got added. Only there.
Actually, there is one problem that time is This youth camps will be there. GSNS camp. GSNS कैंप रहेगा 17, 18, 19, 20 को.
Okay.
So boys devotees will be engaged in that, as far as I know. उसका सेंट्रल वॉइस से सेवा आएगा.
नहीं, लास्ट 2 days इन 14 से स्टार्ट हो रहा है. आगे तो लास्ट 2 days स्टूडेंट 17. मेरे फर्स्ट 3 days में भी कवर कर.
हाँ, मीन्स अगर कुछ सेवा पहले आया तो आई डोंट नो, अदरवाइज
15, 16, 3 days में भी हैदराबाद में करते हैं.
उसी टाइम GSN
हाँ, GSNS camp is from 18th, 18, 19, 20. फ्राइडे वाला दिन नहीं रहेगा हमारे पास, सेवा रहेगा उस टाइम पे मोस्टली.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
18 एक ही दिन हो रहा है ना बस.
If it is Monday, maybe दिन चलेगा.
Monday 18
So,
एवरी डे 1 hour एक्स्ट्रा करके